Welcome to One Haas, a podcast devoted to bringing the Haas community closer together through your stories. I'm your host, Sean Lee, and my mission is to help open our eyes to the network we never knew we had. Today I'm joined by Dilip Patel of the EW 2020 class. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you. How are you?
I'm starting to get hungry, but it's fine. No, I'm just joking. Tell me a little bit about yourself, your background, where you're from.
Sure. So I grew up in Bombay, Mumbai, India. Did engineering, a very typical Asian thing. So right after college, of course, being engineer, data was one of the key passions. So I picked up the first job with Citibank as a data engineer. It was fun. Come from a business family background, so working in the bank was commercial. So I was good to see how technology is getting used in commercial.
Was this in Bombay or?
Yeah, Bombay.
Okay. And when did you move to the US?
I moved to US more than 4 to 5 years. Yeah.
Oh wow, pretty recent.
Yeah, pretty recent.
Did you move here for a job?
Yes.
Where did you work when you moved here?
So when I moved, I was transitioning from Credit Suisse to a startup in machine learning and data analytics called Fractal Analytics.
Oh, wow.
I worked with Fractal Analytics in East Coast, New York, New Jersey, and did some projects in San Francisco. So I was traveling both coast to coast.
How did you get into data science?
So in Credit Suisse, where my last job was, I was working in quantitative research. Back, I guess, 5 years back, data science, the term was not coined yet, but data science, basically, the underlying principles are all statistics, and all banks are pretty advanced. If you look at the risk models in a lot of banks or insurance, they are fairly sophisticated. So I was working on those areas. So for me, I wanted to move out of very narrow finance-focused data and quantitative algo applications to more customer-facing and more broader industries. So,
got it.
Yeah, it was a quick transition. I of course had to do some learning because the tools getting used in banks are very standard tools such as SAS or but in tech companies the tools are more open source, right? So R and Python, and so I picked up a bunch of courses on Coursera and a lot of other mediums, and did 20s of interviews, and finally cracked something.
That makes sense. And how did you make that transition from Fractal to Salesforce?
So, from Fractal, I had a project with one of the Fortune 10 healthcare company in San Francisco. In fact, Salesforce was in the same building.
I see.
But of course, I didn't apply at that time. I really liked West Coast or California environment or weather, and I didn't like the traveling from coast to coast. So I started looking out for opportunities. Salesforce was one of the place where I really liked the team, really liked the culture, and with all the trainings I was getting, in addition to experience I had in Fractal, it was a pretty relevant role to what Salesforce was trying to do.
Got it. And so that's one of the things that we actually want to know more about is how did you make that switch from data analytics, computer science essentially, to, you mentioned this earlier to me, is why did you want to go into product management?
Okay, so product management happened, that was not a plan earlier, but it happened in my journey in Salesforce. So I was leading the product development from machine learning analytics products within Salesforce. And I really loved building things by myself. But a lot of time I felt that I was more focusing on how to build it, but not what to build it. And those decisions were taken by, of course, product managers.
Why you're building it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the role. That's a key differentiation. If you're a product manager, the buck stops at you. You are the one who owns what you're building, why you're building. and whether there's a real business case to build it, right? And it aligns with your company vision, your product positioning, all of that. So, of course, if you are on the building side, which is like how to build it, that's very different. That's just your passion about building something, which I had. But since eventually I wanted to build something my own as an entrepreneur, I wanted to understand how to go about solving customer problem.
Got it.
And that's what motivated me to think about that, hey, is there something I need to learn before I start something my own? And look like product manager role would help me to acquire those skills. Yeah, that's what motivation for me to move into product management.
That makes sense. And so you're someone who was able to transition into product management before coming to Haas. A lot of students come to Haas to transition into product management. Can you talk to us a little bit about how you were able to accomplish that?
Sure. So I guess it took me quite a while to make a transition, because if you're any established company like Salesforce, the hiring manager can always hire somebody from the market, right? With the same salary.
Yeah.
And if you're like one of those top tech company like Salesforce, it's very, you can easily get a very good talent, right? With the money you pay. So that is definitely difficult, but I think it's a journey, nothing else. I started looking opportunity both outside and within Salesforce. So, in any role, there are some cultural nuances of like what people talk, how people talk about it, things, what is the process followed, and how you engage with multiple stakeholders. So I started doing that. I reached out to folks I was actually working with, right, and said, hey, looks like this is what I want to do. I'm already working with you guys to build these products.
Yeah.
How do I get closer to what you guys do?
Right.
So what I would recommend that the most easiest transition in product management is from, if you're an engineer, that's the most easiest thing.
Yeah, makes sense.
And if you do MBA, that's the best thing to do.
Right.
If you want to move. So if you are already in MBA and engineer, you should feel really happy about it, because that's the easiest transition.
Yeah.
Product management is not very old role. It's relatively like last 10, 15 years role. So like people are still figuring out how to hire.
Got it.
A lot of new companies just hire people with experience. So if you're an MBA, because you get to do internship, that's the second, easiest entry point.
Got it.
And having technical background certainly helps. So yeah, I think if if you want to make transition before MBA or without MBA, the easiest thing is if you are working in a company in a tech, which I was, and working on the engineering side, it's the most easy, because you show just confidence to your team that you are up for it, and start picking up some of the elements, right? I started presenting my features as well, not just like building it, but then presenting, working with the product team. And since when I decided that this is something I want to do, I started taking some side projects. That's a great way to actually demonstrate the skills and build as well. A lot of times there are a lot of courses which you could do. I did one course called Pragmatic Marketing, which is kind of industry standard as well.
On where?
It happens all over, international and here as well. Here it happens in San Francisco and San Jose.
It was called
Pragmatic Marketing.
Oh, Pragmatic Marketing.
Yeah.
Okay. And that was offered by Coursera or?
No, there's the institute called
Assembly?
Pragmatic Marketing Institute.
Pragmatic Marketing Institute. Okay.
In fact, some companies have a pre-qualification. So there are a bunch of folks from HP and some other companies. If you get hired in a product role, even if you're like senior director or VP, you got to, if you haven't done that course, you got to do it.
Got it.
It's a very well-defined research framework. That's all it is.
Makes sense.
Definitely helps, if you know the framework. People who are interested would definitely consider that you have really shown the interest. So I was going all around, right? Doing courses online, talking to people outside, started getting some interview calls as well. So I started picking up some of the external interviews as well. Internally, I took up a side project. So what would happen is whatever I'm learning in a side project, when I'm interviewing somebody, I can demonstrate that, I'm not like brand new to this, but I'm already doing something, right? So that process went for a year, and finally I got a couple of opportunities. And, I mean, of course, I did work in that 1 year within Salesforce. Then finally I moved out.
To Groupon.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, I mean, that really begs the question. You are in a role that, many people are seeking in the MBA. So what brings you to the Haas MBA?
Oh, I'm a career advancer. And I mean, eventual goal is to start something my own. But I want to understand the pieces of it, right? The how to think about ideation or design thinking, or once you have ideas, right? How you go through iteration and build a product. Example could be Lean Launchpad. So Berkeley offers some phenomenal, courses. If you want to go entrepreneurship, resources, and so definitely that's one. And secondly, Berkeley has, if you want to grow as well, there are a lot of courses which helps you. And so I guess just advancing my career in a product while I figure out entrepreneurship.
Makes sense.
And maybe trying both in parallel. That's what attracted me to Berkeley. And of course, I get to talk to many awesome people like you. So people is definitely the key aspect of choosing Berkeley.
No, that's true. That's absolutely true. Because you're a career advancer, so far, with your core courses, what are some courses that really helped you in your career so far?
Sure. So I guess some of the core courses are definitely can be applied in the product role. If you're in product, you're always telling stories. So the example, leading communication, the way elevator pitch and a lot of elements are taught.
Yeah.
I did apply and got some compliment as well in my work. That is one. Marketing is, of course, very related to, what we do. So learning the frameworks in marketing, and I'm now currently doing strategic brand marketing because I've waived some courses. So all these courses are very related because as a product manager, you work with marketing team day in, day out. You think about how your product is marketed and, whatever you're building for customers, how the product is going to be positioned.
Right.
So, yes, there are some of good courses, starting from first year as well, which we could definitely leverage.
And now that we're going to move into electives, what are some electives that you're looking forward to?
Sure. I guess I'm very narrowing down two streams. Of course, one is entrepreneurship, which is Lean Launchpad and opportunity recognition, some of those. But from product standpoint, I already picked up one, the strategic brand management. Next one, I'm thinking about pricing because, even if you're doing a startup or you building a product, you want to think about the pricing aspect, which is very key element of it.
Absolutely.
So pricing is the next one. For now, those two looks pretty strategic for product management role.
That's great. Are you thinking of starting a company while you're at Haas? Like launching, is that what you're looking for to do, say applying to Launchpad or any of these entrepreneurial?
Yes, definitely. I'm definitely considering it. I wanted to keep the later half of the program because I find first year very intensive. So I'm thinking let me finish a lot of the core elements and then jump into electives and think about how to take my ideas to some market launch or some iterations.
Right. That's very smart. One of the previous podcasts, I interview a 2018. He's graduating EW. I don't know if you were able to see it, but from Kurosh.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Have you met him before?
I've not met him, but I definitely saw the post. I'm very curious to reach out to these guys.
He launched with some other classmates or friends. Ping. They found this niche and this demand for basically legal billing because the lawyers are still billing in Excel. Super inefficient, but they wanted to disrupt that. So they actually. In terms of timeline, I guess I'm just sharing, it sounded like they launched it like spring of, the second half, actually exactly the second half of his EWMBA. So,
yeah, that's good. I'll definitely reach out and learn, how did they pace with the study.
Yeah.
I'm definitely struggling with the new job and a lot of intensity in the program, but I'm hoping second year it'll get, more time. Yeah, more time.
That's something I will share with you because I was just talking to Jen about this. The one thing we both noticed is that Haas students in the Haas environment is very friendly. It seems a little intimidating at first because there's so many of us, but I've never had any issues just reaching out to someone and asking, hey, can I learn more about this? Like even talking about you especially. This is something I shared in an interview that I did for a Haas article a couple of weeks ago was just how amazing our WhatsApp group is or our Slack group is, where someone will ask, hey, can someone help me practice for product management interviews or can someone give me some pointers on my resume, and you and so many other people just immediately jump on and say, absolutely, let's find a time to meet. I think that's the spirit that is amazing about Haas.
Yeah,
So.
I've always never got a no for now, till now, from anybody I reached out. I guess credit goes to our dean, the awesome dean, which I will definitely miss. His 4 principles are so awesome.
I agree.
You can just feel so proud when you tell about university, starting with principles. And part of that is, definitely community and the, helping each other. So
Beyond yourself.
It's a two-way stream, right? So
Okay, that's great. Is there anything else you would like to share? What's on the top of your mind about product management that you think people should know?
I guess there's a myth a lot of people finds this, that though I already gave some bias that if you're technical, it's very easy. But I've seen a lot of phenomenal people having liberal arts and other background being a great product manager. So since I changed a couple of careers from quantitative finance to machine learning or data science and to product management, I think it's just a process. It took me a year to do a full transition. To some people, it takes longer, so don't give hopes. It's highly possible. And if you're in Berkeley, Haas, pretty, reasonable to think you can pursue it.
There are resources and
there are
students
resources.
help out.
And a lot of people help out as well. Yeah.
That's great. Okay. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast today, Dilip.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you for tuning in today. My aim is to bring the Haas community closer together through your stories. We're always looking for Haasies willing to share their stories and experiences so that we can give you more insights into the different programs, different careers, and ultimately different perspectives. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please feel free to email me for suggestions on how I can improve this podcast, or if you have any recommendations on people or content you'd like to hear. My email is reachsean@berkeley.edu. That's spelled REACHSEAN@berkeley.edu.